changed in terms of technical, how we're actually engaging buyers and sellers with more of an online platform, but also how we're showing property. So definitely during the stay-at-home order, when real estate agents and construction industry was considered an essential business, we could actually continue our work. But people obviously were fearful of going inside of properties because we didn't know. These were early days before a mask was actually required. And so we would show property through temperature checks, mask, as well as contact tracing and booties and gloves, and just trying to be able to understand homeowners' fears, as well as New Orleans has a lot of tenant properties, how comfortable the tenant was actually going to be with the showings, because in the end you're connecting a buyer and seller. And so what are all of the components that are involved in that? So I would say technically we had to put a lot of effort in and be mindful on how properties were actually being shown. But as soon as the stay-at-home order was lifted at May 30th, we were able to engage with masks and a lot of hand sanitizing and just sort of really understanding everyone's comfort level. So I would say that was the biggest change that had come out of COVID. And we're definitely back to going into properties, but we're trying to not have so many people involved, because there's the 7 layers of real estate with the inspectors, insurance agents, title companies. We did a lot of closings outside. So I think the biggest thing is that we just pivoted a lot to what everyone's comfort level was and how we could actually get properties, the exchange of properties. Actually, a 3-part answer. I would say number 1 is I'm a commissioner with the City Planning Commission, and we're been asked by the mayor to do a housing opportunity study. So we're actually looking at all housing types and dwellings, and how do we actually eliminate the affordable housing crisis, and to be able to look at our housing stock and be able to really figure out how best to utilize housing and moving forward. So that's exciting to be a part of. My second, it would be the Preservation Resource Center. We've had to take a lot of I'm the vice chair this year, and we've taken a lot of our programming online, which is exciting to be able to connect with a national audience, to be able to share the vibrant neighborhoods of New Orleans and how to take care of older houses. And then also just being able to grow our team. We're a small firm, and we've now been around for 15 years in real estate, but our firm has been around just for 3 years. So now we've gone from our startup stage to our growth stage. So adding team members and being part of that talent and growing everybody in a more professional way is exciting. Say that was at the Women's Leadership Academy that I had done through Loyola University last year. And the best advice was that there are unrealistic expectations for women in business, and you can't have it all. You're expected to be a wonderful wife, a wonderful partner, a wonderful business owner, a great mother. And what I've learned is that you really have to figure out what are your priorities in life and how do you actually want to prioritize them. And when you can actually figure that out, you're able to have that life that you want. But women can't have it all. So working through those unrealistic expectations and being able to set, I would say, what's important to you is really going to be able to help you professionally moving forward. Simple question. I would say I just believe in housing. I believe housing is a human right, and to be able to connect people with housing is very important. One thing with the pandemic, when the stay-at-home order went into place, I really thought a lot about, if you don't have a house, what does that mean? If we're actually supposed to be sheltering into place and actually don't have a home, how do we actually help people in that regard? And what motivates me is to be able to connect people with housing, help people make smart financial decisions for their family and for their businesses, and housing in terms of where you sleep at night to where you actually want to have your business, to those happy memories, those sad memories, what is that space? What is that shelter? And so that's what motivates me, is to connect people with that space. To say I am not somebody that has really binge watch, but I definitely read. I have 4 books next to my bed every night. So I'm reading Super Bosses, How to Master the Flow of Talent, Thinking Fast and Slow, which is a great book talking about intuition versus our logical, and how we actually approach our day-to-day activities and our decision-making process. And then I'm diving deeper into that, and how does that actually affect our economy. And then various industry articles and books. I'm constantly reading about the housing market locally, nationally, and then on an international basis. So I'll challenge myself to start binge watching maybe something, but right now I will take reading over anything else.